Hello, Janeway here again. This video I'm going to be talking about swap decks. So, in a nutshell, what these decks tend to look like is you play some negative cards. Some of them will automatically switch sides, like Hobgoblin, um, or any of the goblins, and you'll get some negative cards through other means, like through Sentry, that remain on your side, and then you take those negative cards that look like they're going to screw you at first blush, and then push them over to the opponent's side of the field. And so things like Viper um, does that, where your lowest power switches sides. Annihilist is this, where any cards with that are negative power switch sides, things like that. Now, this deck can be a pain in the butt, depending on what you are playing. And so if you have uh, a deck that is kind of a slow roll, like you don't put much out in the first or second turns, and then it kind of ramps up in the later half of the game, you could potentially fall prey to um, things like Green Goblin, Hobgoblin, Viper, that kind of thing. Hood being sent over by Viper. So uh, move decks usually take a little bit to get going. Um, Destruction decks, depending on the flavor, can be a little less malleable. And so if you're putting like Wolverine, Sabretooth, and um, Nova on one field so that you can maximize what you get from a Carnage or a Deathlock or a um, Venom that will end up consuming them. Well, that kind of leaves two fields pretty barren, and uh, shrewd people will be aware of that and start putting negative cards at one of those other fields to shove over to the opponent's side. Of course, if you're playing a destruction deck, you could save one of your destruction cards to kill those negative cards. So, there's a rub there. One has to figure out what, you know, should I put it on a blank field? Should I put it on a field where there's one or two cards that might make a destruction deck player hesitate to kibosh it? And also, this is one time Deathlock is better than Viper because Viper will absorb those negative powers. And so basically, you're getting rid of them, but you're retaining the negative stats that um, are it provided you. Um, if you can get the deck, or if you can get your field somewhat full relatively quickly, something like a low cost deck, what I dubbed the little ones, uh, if you bring out like Squirrel Girl, 3 of the 12 spots are filled. If you um, bring out any of the low cost cards, like you can play several of them in a turn. There are other cards, one cost cards besides Squirrel Girl that can make multiples. Um, so if you pick up where it looks like they might end up trying to do the swap, like if they put down the Hood in turn one, and it's in the middle field, well, maybe you want to start stacking the middle field a little bit, like with your low cost cards, so that the Hood can't be pushed over to your side of the field. and you take a hit. Um, Move decks probably can be fairly effective against the hood, or excuse me, um, the swap sides kinds of decks that feature the hood or the goblins or nihilists, because uh, depending on what cards you have in that kind of deck, you have some flexibility to move things to a different location. And so, Doctor Strange can pull something from one place to another. Heimdall can shove things to the left side of the field, um, to the left half of the field. Uh, you have cards that can move, and you want them to move. And so, if you get your timing right, and say the enemy plays a Viper, and you just happen to move two of your cards and fill your side of that field, well, they wasted a Viper, and now they're stuck with a negative card on their side that they can't get rid of. Which, if you so in a nutshell, uh, it has good blocking potential for the kind of strat that comes with this kind of deck. Um, and so they can be really effective. But if they aren't swapping sides, then uh, basically they just handed you the win. So you have to be strategic and defensive in order to try to um, put yourself in a situation where uh, they're giving you like negative 18 on your side of the board. Like you gotta try to do what you can to shut that down um, by preventing switching sides, by filling your side of the field, by destroying those cards before uh, they come across. So, an Electra could kill a Hood before it switched sides. It's a one cost card, so you could do that in the first round. Um, or anytime after that, obviously. So, um, in a nutshell, another deck you may end up running into, there are some definite counters to it, um, and you just have to know how to use, well, how to create and how to use a deck that can counter this kind of thing. Um, I probably ran into this kind of deck the maybe the fourth or fifth most common. It was around the same frequency as a Titan deck or a flavor of a Titan deck because there's like five flavors to those. Um, so you may end up running into it in this new season that started yesterday. Um, so keep an eye out on that and think about these different decks that we've talked about so far and uh, what could be done to potentially deal with them. Um, Hopefully this was informative. Feel free to like, follow, comment. Feel free to watch me on Twitch. My schedule is posted on Twitch for when I'm streaming. I stream this game every weekday. Um, I also play it on the weekends, but I just don't know when I'll be awake. I try to let myself sleep in on the weekend before I do anything. And hopefully this was informative. Um, Again, leave me any comments. Feel free to like and follow. Feel free to follow me on Twitch if you wish. If you want to see more videos like this, feel free to, if you are able to, put in a donation or tip. And Otherwise, I will see you when I'm streaming or in the next video I record. Janeway out.